Please let her in the side door.
Sayabonga Inkosikazi. We have with us a princess. We got some royalty. Did y'all see in the news the other day when Donald Trump said he long live the king, and then he put King King Trump on the White House website? That's all contrived. Yeah. Here, however, we have a direct descendant of Shaka Zulu by way of Chief Nkulikazi and Chief Zindaba and Chief Infamba of Zambia, and we of course are about to speak to Princess Zindaba Nyirenda, a descendant of Shaka Zulu and a recent author, and we're getting ready to get into her book. So welcome, Princess Zindaba, to Sirius XM 126.
You're muted.
Oh, we can't hear you, man.
Yeah, you're muted.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
The pleasure is ours. Ta-Lakata, The Tears of Africa is the book, and we want everyone to read it. A fascinating read. Before we go any further, do you mind, been to South Africa many times with students from Howard, and we haven't yet made it to KwaZulu-Natal, although we went to a number of places. I also want to get up to the University of Fort Hare at some point to the Brain Trust. But do you mind, what's the correct greeting? How do we greet a princess, and how do the everyday South Africans? You write about this in your book, but so folks can learn. You can start teaching us some language, so when we travel, we won't be completely bereft of the right context.
Okay. So, a point of correction.
Yes.
Princess Zindaba Nyirenda, and I'm from Zambia.
Zambia, yes. Well, I'm sorry.
Zambia.
The last chief I said was Zambia, and yes, absolutely, yes.
Yes. Chifumpamba. So so there's a time span. Shaka Zulu in Southern Africa, right? In South Africa, Shaka Zulu was assassinated. The moment he was assassinated, Zwangendaba picked up, succeeded him. So Zwangendaba is the one that migrated from KwaZulu-Natal all the way to Tanzania and came to Lundazi, Chifumpamba, where my grandparents, on my father's side, Chifumpamba, Mpamba, of the Tumbuka-speaking people, gave room to the wandering tribe of Shaka Zulu people, the Zwangendaba, and they remained in Magodi area in Lundazi. So we are from Zambia, but originally from South Africa.
Yes, ma'am. And it's interesting you say that, because people think of the Zulu as a tribe. I don't use that language, more ethnic, but everybody is related. It's fascinating to me how African people will find out. The first thing we want to know is how are we connected, not how are we divided. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Exactly. Yeah, totally. So I was hoping just by my name, Zindaba, you would pick it up.
Yes, the Indaba. Yes.
Because when you look at me, when I look at you, you look like my brother, my sister, somebody, my brother, my uncle, somebody in Zambia that I know, or who would relate to Zindaba being a Ngoni name, which is a Zulu name. The Ngonis. So Zwangenda, so Shaka Zulu is assassinated. The one who succeeded him was Zwangendaba and Muzilikazi. So they migrate. They're migrating. Yeah, Muzilikazi.
Now
So they're
he's
migrating from South Africa.
He's in Ndebele.
Ndebele. Very nice. Yes. Ndebele. So Muzilikazi stays in the Ndebele area, and he established his throne there with the Ndebele people in Matebele land. Zwangendaba carried on. Zwangendaba crosses the Zambezi River to come to Zambia. And that's where my mother is born. And then they take my mother, the granddaughter from Shaka Zulu, and married her to my father, the Prince Mpamba of the Tumbuka-speaking people. So I'm both mother and father from the royal African tribes.
Wow.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. You write about, sadly, people around the world, and sadly, African people here in the United States are no different. We receive so much of our information around Africa, when we receive it at all, through the eyes of Europeans. And you very early in the book, in Ta-Lakata, you talk about an Indaba that was held in Berlin.
Indaba.
But before we get to that, your name incorporates that. I find that fascinating. Could you tell us what an Indaba is? And then, please.
Yes, totally. So my name, for the longest time, I was made to feel ashamed in Zambia growing up in Africa
Ah,
because yes, because when I was growing up, so in my family of 10 children, I'm the fourth.
mhm.
My first three sisters, there's Esther, Alice, Dora, with all English names, and then
Oh,
they gave me Zindaba.
what?
Hmm.
And then I'm growing up in Africa with all these, the African people have all attained, Western thought and
Yeah.
influences with their names, Elizabeth, Mary, Daisy,
Mm.
So during roll call, they would be calling out the names, Mary, Rosemary. And when it came to my name, Zindaba, everybody laughed.
What?
She has a village. Yes, she has a village
Oh, a
name.
village
She has,
name.
she has a primitive,
Wow.
That is
because I had a primitive.
insane.
Yeah,
On the
I had a
continent.
primitive.
But the
Yes.
families did it to themselves. At least in the case of Madiba in South Africa, Nelson Mandela, it was the teacher that gave him Nelson. But you're saying the parents gave these
Well,
European names.
if you look, yes, if you really observe the African people, even in Zambia today, many people have two names. We call the first name the umbilical cord name. That's a
Ah,
traditional name. When
yes.
you're born, they give you that umbilical cord name, which is an African name. But when you get educated, you attain and you become a Christian, especially. You convert to
Oh.
Christianity, you attain the Christian names. So you discard your own ethnic identity and start attaining the Western thought and Western ways of being.
Wow.
So I hope I don't put you on the spot here, but I want to ask you a quick question because
I love it.
one time in my
I love
life,
it.
I had the pleasure many years ago of meeting KK Kenneth Kaunda. Does he have your umbilical cord name?
But Kenneth Kaunda, good
I
question.
mean, I've never
I
heard it.
know his father.
You really?
I know his father. His father was no, David. I know his father. Okay, his father and my grandparents, because I talk about them.
Hmm.
His dad and my grandparents, they did they were in school together. They
I
went to school
love it.
together.
Really?
The first, yes, so the first missionary school, the first formal school ever built in Zambia, or like in the not Zambia, at that time it was like Rhodesia,
Mm-hmm.
Nyasaland, Southern Rhodesia, Northern Rhodesia, those were
Yes.
the regions.
Yes.
The first Christian school built was Livingstonia Mission
Oh, David
by
Livingstone.
David Livingstone.
Hmm.
What? What?
Dr. Livingston, I
Oh my
presume.
Yes,
gosh. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I presume.
it's all captured in my book.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So you're talking about, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, Kenneth Kaunda was the first president of Zambia.
The first president of Zambia,
Ah,
and he endorsed my book. Oh my God, he's on the book cover.
I see
He
KK.
endorsed my book.
We have the PDF.
Yes,
I want to get a physical. I'm a physical copy of the book, guy. I need a physical copy. We have the PDF, but I want Ta-Lakata in my hand. Look at KK. He's there on the
but
book.
yes, he endorsed my book. Oh, there's so much. Okay, so here's another thing to think about.
Yes.
I grew up in a very affluent, family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I attained, the Western thought, Western education, and then gradually I started realizing that for me to be accepted, I have to discard of my own,
Yes.
traditions and
Hmm.
looks, and I have to start looking like I'm a Western, Westerner. And
Yes.
then they wouldn't pronounce my name right. They would make fun of my name. It was gibberish. It was primitive. It was heathen. You
Mm.
know, those are the things I grew up with. So they were forcing me to attain a new name. So then I'll go to my mother crying, how come you gave my sisters Esther, Alice, and Dora? Those are accepted. Everybody laughs at my name during roll call. My mother told me, no, you're Zindaba,
Mm-hmm.
mwana wa kwa Mpamba. So, and then she explained what my name means. I literally have grown up into my name. What my name means, Zindaba, is plural with a Z. If you take out the Z, it's Indaba.
Mm-hmm.
Indaba is single, Zindaba is plural.
Hmm.
And Indaba is what you and I are having right now. We're having a discussion of some sort.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Isn't
It's a
it?
rap, it's almost
Isn't
yeah, carry on.
isn't Indaba? I know in the among the Congo people they have the word Mbongi. when you have a gathering to discuss, but there's usually something at stake in the discussion. Is Zindaba the same principle? Could you talk to us a little bit?
Of course.
Please.
The problem, right? Problem solver. So when they had the Indaba, I talk about Indaba, the Indaba that they had in 1895, or is it 1894? They had the Berlin Conference in West Germany, in Germany, somewhere up there in Europe.
Yes.
There was a scramble for Africa at that time. The scramble for Africa was all these Europeans interested in the continent. With the gold, the silver, the diamonds were discovered. So they were fighting each other. The French, the British, they were all fighting each other. So then they came and had a Berlin conference to settle in Europe matters pertaining to them occupying Africa, and left out the African leaders like Shaka Zulu and all the African leaders. So they convened in Germany, and then that's how they came up and demarcated Africa. So they said, okay, I'll get a piece here. I'm the British. Cape to Cairo, they drew a straight line. Cape to Cairo for Rhodesia for the Queen, Queen Victoria. The Francophone, the French, they picked their part. The Portuguese took Angola and Mozambique. The Africans said, we came first. We came first to South Africa. You're not going to touch South Africa, the Cape. That's ours. So the Africans, the Dutch people who are the Africans in Africa, they took over that base because it had diamonds over there.
And I think we've got one of their descendants wreaking havoc over here in the States right now. But anyway, we go ahead.
Dutch
exactly.
Face.
So think about it. The child of the Afrikaans is speaking in the world. Somehow you guys woke me up and brought me here to speak as well.
Come on
Shaka
now.
Zulu has to be represented.
Talk to us, Princess. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm telling you.
So
I'm telling you.
I'm stuck on something that you said because about your upbringing and the traditional versus Western thought, and here in this country, we've been dealing with a bit of an identity crisis for our duration over here, trying to connect to a native tongue that we're not familiar with. Traditions and culture and all that, and we always, as African Americans, try to point to Africa as our source. And here you are telling me you grew up with the same identity crisis on soil, on continent.
Yes,
and that's fascinating.
Remember, we also had our liberation struggles. We had to fight the British out to get independence. Now, today, when I stand here and I say, okay, did we really get independence, guys? Are we independent or not? We are not.
And we see places.
We are not. We are not economically independent. Matter of fact, the scramble for Africa that took place when Shaka Zulu was assassinated.
Yes.
That scramble for Africa is happening today.
Oh. Talk to us a little bit more about that. Yes, please.
We have to have another show.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I'm telling you. We have to dissect it and really go step by step.
Yes.
I just came back from Africa I was there last summer. I spent 4 months there. When I went there, I went to write my book. I wanted to write my book, Ignite My African Dream. Ignite My African Dream. I wanted to go there.
That's the next book.
I went to Africa to write that book. Yes. I came back, crushed my African heart. And so right now, my next book that I'm writing is My Wrangled Heart Bleeding.
Now, in this one that you kind of talk about having your family, and you can trace your lineage, right, which most people can't do.
Of course.
And you talk about having your family lands taken, right? And we see, as foreign observers, we see people like Ibrahim Traore, and we see people like Malema telling the world, you know what?
Yeah.
This is ours, underneath our feet. We're taking it back. You can either stay or go. How, with the Western mindset that exists there with millions of people, how impactful or how influential do you think people like that, those voices, will have on changing that mindset?
Okay.
Decolonizing, if you will.
The decolonization actually is recolonization. That's what's going on in Africa right now. That's what broke my heart. What broke my heart was this. Think about it. I'm buying land. I just wanted a place of, okay, so they're selling land now, right? When I was growing up, land was never sold. Buying and selling land was never a traditional African society practice. We never sold or bought land. You belonged to the land.
Yes.
I'm a tribal person. This is my home. This is my chief. If I want land, the chief will, assign me the piece of land I want. I'll do whatever I can do with it. I'll farm. I'll develop it. And when I leave it for the people. That's how the Africans were. Until now, the Western thought came in now. While I was here in the United States, they're starting to sell Zambia out. When I went, what broke my heart?
Yes.
What broke my heart was we have land, my native land, the land where my fathers belong, Chifumpamba. I'm talking about Chifumpamba. I have to be very, very specific because no one out there is going to talk about my Chifumpamba because that's my grandparents' land.
Yes, yes.
Fourth generation.
Yes.
Okay? The land where my grandparents are buried. That land has diamonds and it has gemstones on it.
Yes.
So I wanted to go start a little mining, manufacturing, little business for my own village people.
Yes.
They're living on this land. I was gonna get them trained in China and India.
Yes.
I wanted to send them over to get trained so that when they dig that gemstone, we can polish it, we can grade it, we can make jewelry. I'm a fashion designer here. I was going to be making brooches. I was going to make buttons. I was going to do all kinds of things with the gemstones that we have. And then here in Chicago, we do have the expo for the gemstone expos.
Yes.
They have those expos.
Yes.
I was going to open up a booth and sell my stuff for the Zambian people because I do ministry and I, attend to the poor. So I wanted to raise money for them. Only to go there to the Ministry of Cadastre that issues mining licenses, if you're going to operate it, legally, to be told, oh, you don't own that land anymore. That land has been sold to a Chinese man.
The Chinese are heavy in Zambia. The copper, the precious mineral. Talk to us about that, Princess.
They've bought every hill. They've put towers,
Cell
internet tower across the country from coast to coast, all the way to Tanzania, all the way to Mozambique. Towers. And we think we are having internet in Zambia. No, they're watching, they're listening to us.
This is the new scramble for Africa, huh? It's not the Europeans
the new scramble for Africa. Yes. Even them. They right now in Zambia, my country, as I'm speaking to you, this last year, Jeff Bezos, Amazon guru.
Yes.
That guy, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos went to Zambia. They've bought the most, copper, copper ore is what Zambia is, not known for. 95% of our economy depends on copper mining industry.
Copper. No question.
Copper,
yes. Second after the Democratic Republic of Congo. They raping Africa for the mineral. Oh my gosh. So you're saying Bezos is in bed with Gates.
They found the most potent copper ore that the grade is so richer than all the grades of copper that they've been digging from the beginning of time. And then they also got mines for lithium batteries, for the electric cars in America.
Yes.
The future of America is electric cars.
No question.
You need lithium battery.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's
where battery coming from?
The Ukraine has that. Exactly. People think this is about Putin and Zelensky. No, it's about the minerals. That's exactly right.
Yes.
So could you get a workaround? Here you are trying to recover for the people. What did you do then?
I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe. And then he's showing at the Ministry of Mines. They're showing me the map of Zambia. They're like, oh, if you look at this map, you'll see where there's blue, dark blue, and light blue. When it's dark blue, that means somebody has bought the land. They're not buying the land. The land that I bought in Kwafiwe is the land. They call it surface. You have a title deed to the surface ground. So over here you can plant peanut and it's gonna grow.
Yes.
You can build a house.
Yes.
That's your land.
Yes.
0 to 6 feet deep.
Yes.
That's what they sold out.
Enough to bury you.
And then,
yes.
Wow.
and then beyond 6 feet deep,
Yes.
that belongs to the government. So if there's diamonds there, if they're within 0 to 6 feet deep,
Yes.
a Chinese man already has it. Beyond 6 feet deep, that's the government. And I'm like, hey, 0 to 6 feet deep is where they buried my dad.
Exactly.
No, the Chinese have bought my sacred ground.
Oh.
It broke my heart.
Oh.
Broke my heart to pieces.
So
Yes.
what is the plan for that? Because we can be in perpetual outrage, but we also know that I can't take my company to China and do the same. So how do you fight that? Like, no one's going to China to mine and take land and be like, oh, we set up here. I bought this.
Exactly. So why are they doing it to the Africans? And why are we? So they're capitalizing on the people's innocence. Because when I was talking to my own people, I said, guys, I looked at the map. The whole Zambia is blue, dark blue. When it's light blue, they're in the process of getting a mining license. I couldn't even get a mining license on my land. They told me, oh, you have to start evicting him first. So if this guy is a billionaire, how am I going to evict him?
How are you going to evict him? Yeah, you need capital. I mean, you're raising something. We have been, ever since the invasion of Africa, a half millennia ago, and here we are having this conversation in English, we have been under perpetual assault, but we've always figured out ways to fight back. Your grandparents' generation are a living testament to that. And even as you go farther back in your bloodline, I mean, the reason we even know of the Zulu is because when the British invaded, Nandi and then Shaka, they got together.
Exactly. So, he ain't gonna, I'm not gonna sell a slave to you.
Come on now. Talk to us, Princess Zindaba. Talk to us about that.
Shaka Zulu is the only king known on the continent of Africa who never participated in slavery. And I even talk about it in my book.
Yes.
The
Southern
only
Africa,
king.
there was no slave trade going on in his kingdom. He wanted to get whoever he conquered became part of his military.
Yes.
Because he was looking for fighting men, the mighty warriors. He was a warrior.
Now that raises an interesting question.
Because that's who ended up killing him, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, and of course, a couple of weeks ago, we talked with Marlene Drought about Henri Christophe in Haiti, who came into power after the assassination of Jean-Jacques Dessalines. So, I mean, there was an internal battle. How should we think about the price of unity? And I say that very specifically. I remember either Thomas Mafolo or Maisi Kokonene, writing about how, Shaka, this wasn't bloodline. He literally used force to create unity. Is that something that we should think of? I think about, for example, Paul Kagame in Rwanda, who is collaborating in many ways with the West as they invade Congo and rape Congo of its minerals. But I can hear Paul Kagame saying, you got to use force to bring people together. Is that necessary, Princess Zindaba, or are there other ways to do it?
That's what Mugabe did.
Oh, it is.
Mugabe, the president of Zimbabwe?
Yes.
And what did they do to him? They got him out.
They got him out. Yes, they got him out. So in other words, if you try to use force to bring people together, ultimately, are you seeding your own downfall? Is that what you...
Force. Well, but you have to take a stand. Like, I'm taking a stand.
Yes.
I'm the voice.
Yes.
My village, I'm the first writer ever to have written something. This book is the first book ever written since the beginning of time from somebody from my village.
Wow.
When I wrote my book, Ta-Lakata, and people have never been asked, what does Ta-Lakata mean?
Talk to us.
Okay. So, ta.
Yes.
Ta is plural. African words and African language, we have a lot of distinctions, plural, singular.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So ta is us, we, all of us united together.
Really?
Lakata. Lakata nchitumbuka. Nchitumbuka is tumbuka, the language I speak. Nchitumbuka. Lakata. What Lakata is the sound the leaves make when they fall from a tree. The African people are very descriptive in language.
No
so
question.
when the leaves are falling, majani is the leaves. Majani, the leaves. Your lakata. It's a describing word. Lakata.
Yeah.
Lakata is falling down. When the wind blows, lakata. The wind of HIV/AIDS blew over Africa in the at the beginning of 2000.
Which you write about extensively. Yes, yes.
That's all. Yes, all of this is my tears. Because HIV/AIDS came, and by the time people responded to HIV/AIDS, you know how many Lakata had happened for us? Like Lakata was my dad, my sisters, my brother. She from Hamba passed away.
Lord have mercy.
By the time they responded, a lot of Africans had already died.
Yes.
For me, it was a good thing, too late, because I still lost my best loved ones on the planet. And I had to heal writing this book. So this is not a book you can sit by the fire, be entertained, and enjoy reading.
Yes, ma'am.
So as an advocate, as a lifelong advocate, HIV/AIDS in Africa, how do you respond to what we've seen recently with, the freezing of funding to programs across the continent and how they've affected, babies and children under those populations?
All of it. Heartless. Heartless, because listen, when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers.
Yes.
That's an African saying.
Yes.
These are giant elephants. What do you have to lose to feed a hungry child on the streets of Africa? What do you have to lose? You're going to cut taxes or tariffs here and there. Big deal. Right? Why are you touching innocent children, little boys, playing on the streets? Dusty roads of Africa. Why are you touching that? And has he seen malnutrition? Has he seen measles? These deadly, simple diseases that are preventable? Jimmy Carter was one of the presidents of a day gone by.
Yes.
He came to Africa and built us houses. I have a niece who lives in they call it SOS. Like SOS is like the sign for help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like the sign for SOS. They have a compound now in Lusaka called SOS.
SOS.
The houses Jimmy Carter built. Jimmy Carter. With his bare hands, he came to Zambia, built houses. He had Habitat for Humanity. That's what presidents do.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But you see now the great game that you're talking about, this scramble for resources.
Yeah. So now you're coming in our country, you're getting our gold and silver, and then the copper that you're getting from my country, 95%, the whole economy depends on copper ore. We don't even price the copper. The copper is priced in London Metal Exchange. When I went to Zambia, what broke my heart, and I came back running and crying, South Africa sends, when I was growing up in Zambia, we grew up in the Copper Belt province. There's a province called Copper Belt.
Yes.
It's all mining industry.
Yes.
That province is open pit mining practice. South Africa today digs the copper ore. When I was growing up, they would refine it in Lusaka. It was called, in Zambia, in the Copper Belt, refining process that was creating jobs for Zambians.
Of course.
This time, they don't even care about that anymore. They dig the ore with its dirt, load it in these trucks, stand by the roadside. Every 5 minutes, a truck is going to South Africa, loaded.
Is that
with copper ore? With copper ore and its dirt, packed to the max, going to South Africa, Durban.
Is it a matter of
Zambia
to Durban from Zambia, which means they got to cross all the way across the continent to get Southern Africa?
Yes, to South Africa, and that's where they're refining it. They've even discovered that the soil around the copper, when they purify that soil is worth something.
It's rich.
It's a byproduct.
Listen, the first time 20 years ago I was in South Africa, and we rode into Joburg, and they say, you see all that dirt? That dirt was what they dug out to get the gold. But now they've created a process by which they can treat that dirt and get more gold out of the dirt than they did when they dug it out the first time. That's how rich. So let me ask you, is it, I was reading some news the other day that Anglo-American is trying to spin off De Beers. That apparently it's not profitable anymore, but we know Anglo-American bought the Ashanti gold fields in Ghana. Are these companies that cross these country lines? Are they bringing the dirt to South Africa because the law in South Africa is more flexible now than the law in Zambia? Could you walk us through how?
It's not even the law. It's not even the law. It's like I told you, did we get independence?
No. No. I mean,
We did not.
sad to say.
We are
Political.
not independent countries.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
they lie to you. Oh, we'll give you your independence on paper.
On paper.
Economically, they're still robbing us. What they're doing. So now, I mean, it is so deep. Like, so De Beers.
Yes.
De Beers was a gold mine, the beginning of gold.
Cecil
And
Rhodes,
diamonds
that
and all
criminal. Yes.
De Beers is the one that established the Rhodes Scholarship.
Yes.
Because guess what? John Cecil Rhodes was the first guy to discover that and to take it for the Queen Victoria.
Yes.
And then they established a Rhodes Scholarship for prominent scholars around the world. And then they even maybe issues. A few Zambians have attained it. Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar.
Yes.
And it's a very prestigious. The proceeds of that scholarship comes from Zambia.
My God.
De Beers and De Beer diamonds. And so whether it's De Beer diamonds, it's Anglo-American, Vedanta, and now they have the Chinese in there. And now Elon Musk has gone in with, oh, by the way, Elon Musk, his father owned an emerald mine in Zambia.
That's
what
right.
educated that boy.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. People think he's a self-made. No, you're not.
Not at all.
You raped Africa. That's where you got your, that's exactly right.
Dad.
That's right.
Emerald
Yes.
mines in Zambia he owned. Which Zambian owns the mine? I tried to own my own little mine in my own little village to be told, oh, that has already been bought by the Chinese. So where does that leave me?
Now is
My
it
wrong old heart bleeding is coming up. I'm getting that book published. You gotta feature it on this show, please. Let's keep talking about it.
We must.
It will
Absolutely.
take an authentic child of Africa to be the voice
Yes,
for what
ma'am.
is so wrong,
Agreed.
because they like us being very quiet and they can carry on coming to Zambia, dig the ore. I'm standing by the road. They keep crossing truck after truck. Oh, not only are they getting the copper ore. If you go in my native village, they made my cousins over there grow tobacco.
Oh.
I live in Chicago. This country, Cargill in
Cargill, yeah. That makes and
what was
Monsanto. They make the seeds with that don't reproduce. You gotta come back and buy some more seeds from them. The damn GMO. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, Princess.
Dang.
This comes every way. Yes.
tobacco. The tobacco, what they was, I was asking my cousin. I said, "How much tobacco are you selling to these people?" Cargill. Cargill is out in Peoria. Peoria is by like 100 miles from here. Not even 100 miles. It's somewhere on the edge of Illinois. I've been there. I saw the Cargill. I said, Cargill, those are the trucks I was saying from the villages of Lundazi. They're hauling bales and bales of tobacco. They're selling. Can you imagine 1 ton of tobacco? Tobacco is a leaf.
Yes.
So it's weightless. It has no weight.
That's right.
You know, when you rake your leaves in the fall, they have no weight.
Yeah.
They pack the tobacco until it has a weight of 1 ton.
Oh.
That's a lot.
You know how much tobacco that is?
That's a
And you know
fat
how much they're
cigarette.
selling it to my cousin? His whole field, he buys it for $85.
$85 a ton.
All right, so
pimping,
with let's stay right there. So with that, why haven't companies here, so-called black-owned businesses or African businesses using their Western educations and some who have found Western financial success, kind of do the same, if you will, without the exploitation? Like set up a business that does this, and I have a trucking company, and I have a export business.
Yes.
How come it's not more of that, or is it just we don't see it?
No. We haven't started. We haven't started thinking that way. We're just starting to think that way.
Okay.
And usually, thinking that way begins with a conversation such as this one. Zindaba we are having right now is timely. We're having an Zindaba to educate America. Say,
Yes.
hey, America,
Yes.
Africa. My mother told me, because I lost my mother, right? But before I lost her, she came to America. I hadn't seen her in 14 years. So when she finally came, she looked at me. She says, Zindaba, put Lundazi on the map. Where are my African American brothers? Where are they? Have you spoken to them? Have you brought them home? Don't you know that those are your brothers?
Yes, exactly.
You gotta call them and invite them and let them know in Africa they are welcome. To my horror, when I came to America and because I live in the suburbs, I'm
Yes.
sorry, the sunlight is coming. the sun is shining upon me right now.
Yeah,
Better
It's
shine.
okay. That's okay.
yeah.
Better shine upon me.
So you said when you
I'm
came,
telling you,
yes,
when I came, I noticed there's a big gap between me and my African American brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
And I did not understand.
Yeah.
And then they were blaming me for, oh, you sold us into slavery. Oh, you gave up on us. Now, the white people came and bought by you sold.
Ignorance.
Oh, then I'm like, oh, I see. That's why when I wrote my book, I began with that apology.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Heal the brokenness.
Yes, you did.
That's
Yes, you
Heal
did.
the brokenness on behalf of all the African people that sold their own brother out. On behalf of that, I said, please forgive us. We didn't know what we were doing. They must have lied to us. They must have brought in. In fact, I know for sure people that sold into slavery were captured. They never saw their own brother. They went to the next village.
That's right.
The weaker tribe got them and sold them into slavery.
That's right.
That's how they justified that.
That's
But
right.
that act does not excuse nobody. So those are the
Yes.
sins of our forefathers. We must bring them before the face of God until we repent and acknowledge that the God Almighty is a God of love and unity. He wants us united together because they are robbing us right now. We are sitting here fighting and being divided.
Absolutely.
There's so much more we can do. Like right now, I have my nonprofit. I am literally encouraging everybody to team up with me, partner with me, come to Zambia. We have stuff to do over there.
Yes,
the
ma'am.
next billionaires in this coming decade are going to be coming out of Africa. Where are the African Americans in the picture?
Hey,
Where are the black people in the picture?
Hey, I could afford a couple tons of tobacco. I double that price. I put a company up this afternoon and start moving
Telling
units.
you.
Hey,
And that's just like a tip of the iceberg. There's so much we can look at. Whether it's safari, if we look at safari in Zambia right now, how many of us, even the African people, even go on safari? Safari is not owned by Zambians. Safari is all owned by these foreigners, and they market it outside, and all the tourists come in there. We, the Africans, barely go on safari. So now we're having a project right now. I'm speaking with the Minister of Tourism in Zambia. He's got my attention. He wants us to create this resort, a safari resort in Zambia, where we are going to make it accessible to all the African American. Money is not going to be the issue why you didn't go to Africa.
Yes. I mean,
That's the future we're stepping into.
what's the nonprofit? What's the website you talked about for people listening right now and they just want to support directly your efforts?
Utuba Africa. Utuba is a light. So when you see the light behind my screen, there's a light, right? I'm drawn to the light. My book has the light as well.
Yes,
Utuba.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Utuba is the light of God.
The light of God. Yes.
It's when you're enlightened, when the darkness disappears. We've been held in darkness, in bondage for the longest time. May the darkness disappear and light appear. Because within Utua is the essence of who we are, the thing that God, the purpose that God has given us to be on this earth. And guys, we don't have time. Time is of the essence.
We don't have
Let's
time.
wake up to see how can we do this together and just step up. Let's do it for our children. Let's introduce our children to Africa.
Yes.
Because those are the future.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I got a lot of personal friends that are first generation, here in America, but they're African. And I've never heard that apology. And so just hearing that from you in that way, that was chilling. Because that's how it starts. Because
that's how it
we were
begins.
raised here. We were
heal.
thinking the same thing that probably y'all was thinking. They keep that division going, but just to hear that perspective was amazing to me.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, divide and
absolutely.
conquer. So it was part of what they did to us, and then we've taken it on like it's the truth.
Yeah.
The truth is we love each other, we are united, and we are one. We are one, the one.
Yes.
Don't wait for the British to come and solve my problems in Zambia.
That's
I am the solution. You and I together.
That's right.
And Africa is emerging.
That's exactly right.
How can
That's
we let
exactly
the Chinese influx, every hill, every stream, they've divided all the rivers.
Yes. Yes.
This plot is this one. And if you go in, this one Indian guy tells me the land that I bought 1,000 acres. He says, "Oh, who told you bought that land? Don't you know that land from here all the way to the game park is mine."
Is mine.
One guy.
Is mine. Yeah. That's the arrogance of Europe.
That's crazy.
But that's why
No,
they're also going to fail.
we gotta get him out.
We got to get them out. No question about it. No,
They'll hear it from my mouth.
Got to get them out. No question. Oh, thank you so
absolutely.
much.
And thanks for spending some time with us.
Nyirenda. We are happy. And the website is Utuba Africa. How do you spell it?
Utuba, yes. Utuba, UTUBA.
Yes.
I think it's utuba.africa.com.
Oh,
That guy. Okay, so it's in so this wheel is moving faster than I can keep up.
That's okay. We'll find it. We'll get it.
I have a whole bunch of people like in my background working on my website right now. So I think I talked to Albert. I said, get that website out. I'm gonna be on radio. So he told me something. What did he tell me? Let me see what he said here. He gave it to me.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
If not now, later.
Yeah,
I will be in touch, and especially when my book coming out, when it comes out, I'll let you guys know.
Oh yes, and then
for that one,
definitely bring you back. No question.
For that one, we've got to read that book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when I wrote Ta-Lakata, I was brokenhearted. You know, I was healing, so I didn't have. I just wanted to write and tell my story.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, but this one, the other one is an outrage.
The one that you went to write, yes, and the broken heart, the heart breaks, no question. It's heartbreaking, but we know that we will survive, and we know we will thrive, and we know that this is the message that will help us, and in fact, inspire us.
And God is the light.
Yeah.
God is the light, and you gotta stand in the truth, and you gotta stand in the light, and you've got to speak the truth to power.
Yes,
and don't be afraid. Do not be afraid, because they use fear to intimidate you.
That's right.
They've used fear to, your gender, you're a girl. Who are you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Princess
but thank you.
Zindaba. Nyirenda. Zindaba.
Nyirenda.
Good to see you.
Muzukulu wa Chifu Mpamba.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll try that a little later.
Muzukulu is a granddaughter.
Granddaughter of Mpamba. Yes, indeed.
Muzukulu.
Oh.
Well,
now,
Shaka Zulu.
I know in the Nguni languages, all of them is Nkosi mean the same thing.
Nkosi. Hey, Nkosi. You are Makosi. Yeah.
Okay.
You are the Nkosi. You are the Fumu. The Fumu is Tumbuka. Nkosi is Ngoni Zulu. You are the kings.
The king. Okay.
Remember Shaka Zulu and everybody who succeeded him. All those are kings.
Yeah.
And then the British came in and told them, "Oh no, you're not a king."
Right. The king is a narrow, sclerotic looking guy like I don't know Charles. Anyway, but that's okay.
I just know Amandla. That's the one I got.
Amandla.
Yeah.
Amandla.
Yeah.
Power.
Now
and then so Nkosikazi is a woman. Kazi is a woman. Nkosi is a king, man.
Yeah.
You are the Nkosi, I'm the Nkosikazi.
Nice.
Kazi is a girl. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you
Thank you for that. We appreciate the conversation.
We're having you back. We got to
absolutely.
keep this conversation, especially when the new book comes out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, keep us
Thank
posted.
you for that.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for giving my voice out into the world.
Always.
Let the voices reign, and let people start listening to the authentic African voice.
Yes, ma'am.
There it is.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what it is.
You're listening to Urban View Mornings on Sirius XM Urban View. We'll be right back.